Hi, I'm Randy Robison. Welcome to Life Today TV. I have the author of the book, Every Bitter Thing is Sweet. It looks like this, and her name is Sara Hagerty. She is here with me, and she's going to tell you some amazing things about her life. Welcome to
Thank you for having me, Randy.
The cafe set at Life Today.
I'm excited to be here.
And you're going to talk about this book on the broadcast show. And so if people want to hear more about that, I would direct them at to lifetoday.org. But I want to talk to you about something that is just a bundle of emotions. It's fun, it's probably frustrating, it's a challenge, and that's your children.
Yes.
Because you have 5?
Uh-huh, I do.
What are their age ranges?
My oldest is 11, and my youngest is 1.
Youngest is 1, so that's not too out of the normal. You're not like, all right. But your older 4 are a little different. Tell us the background.
They are. My husband and I adopted our first 2 children from Ethiopia when they were 1.5 and 3.5, and thought we'd be done. And we were having some struggles conceiving, and really had a heart for adoption before then. So we pursued these adoptions from Ethiopia, and we thought this would be it. And then we'd really pray towards a biological child. And while we were in the orphanage, touring where our children had been in Ethiopia, there was a young girl there who was probably 9 or 10, and giving us a tour of the orphanage, and you could tell that that was her role, that the moms and dads came for the babies, and she gave them the tour. And she looked at me with these eyes that said, "Take me home." And we left the orphanage, and I said to my husband, after we actually had returned from Ethiopia with our children, I said, "We're not done. We've got to go back." So we didn't actually end up going back for her, but I knew there were orphanages are full of children like her, 9, 10, 11, who are less likely to get adopted. And so 2 years later we did. We adopted a 5- and 7-year-old from Uganda.
From Uganda. Why Ethiopia and Uganda?
Well, Ethiopia, because early on, before we knew that we would have struggles conceiving, I, in prayer, saw a picture of an African child crawling on my bed, and I knew that this baby was African, and just sort of filed it away. What was that? I don't know, but had a sense that that was my child. And so when we started to pursue adoption, it only felt natural to look at Africa, and Ethiopia was the country that was open for adoption at that time. And then when we wanted to go back, we thought, we've bridged the transracial gap. We've done this. We have children that are African already, and so we prayed, and Uganda was relatively new to adoption, and we felt like, well, we'd been through adoption once before, and it seemed like we could potentially pioneer something new, and so we adopted from Uganda.
Do your friends or perhaps your parents think you guys are just crazy?
I don't think they tell us if they do. Really, what's been so sweet is I think when it was a concept, when we were talking to our parents about adoption and our friends, it felt a lot crazier than when we actually did it. And when they were in our world and they're seeing the lives of these children being restored, and watching the pain and the wrestle and struggle with it, I think it seems a little less crazy to them. At least if it isn't, they don't tell us.
Right. Do you ever have any, well, people think I'm crazy because I have 4.
Yes.
And 5.5 years.
You get looks. I know those looks.
We did when they were younger, You walk in
Taking
with
up the
it's a pack. I mean, there's 6 of us. It's like, here we are,
Don't you know what you're doing?
But it's great. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
So you have to have had some funny moments along the way.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we funny moments, funny comments, we sort of feel like we're magnets for humor, and I think that's part of the way that God has designed it. We are walking through some serious issues with our children as they learn to be in a fold and learn what it's like to be in a family and grieve with us, and I think one of the ways that God has brought healing to our home is we just laugh a lot at them, with them. I think of recently, well, it wasn't so recently, maybe in the past 2 years or so, one of my children is especially dark. Her tribe was an especially dark tribe, and so she called to us in the night, and we heard her, and she said, "Daddy, Daddy, when it's dark, I can't see myself." And we said, "Oh, Hopi, we can see you, just smile."
That's fun. Her name's Hope?
Her name is Hope, yeah.
Did you name all of your
We named,
children?
we renamed all of our children. All of our children obviously had names, but we really felt like bringing them into our fold, it was significant for us to rename them. And we love the beauty of people who keep their children's original names, but we really felt like with each child it was significant for us to rename them.
Are you going to retain their original names, their African names, for them later?
Well, we did. For 3 of ours, we retained their African names as middle names.
As middle names.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. We felt, you know, we're blessed to get, in a sense, they're folded into our family, but we're also folded into a heritage that's their history and their culture, and so we love that we get to retain those names. We just wanted the opportunity as parents to rename them.
Sure, sure. God did that with a few people through the Bible too. Mm-hmm. So it's not out of place. Now you've got one biologically.
Yes.
Yes. Very young still.
Yes, he's 15 months.
Little boy? Okay.
Little boy.
How are you going to bring him up?
Wow, that's a great question. Right now, he is, he's a polygamist. He's been married to all of my children's dolls.
That's fun.
Sweet baby Bo is the mascot of our family. So we've kind of just watched as things have unfolded with him. This is the first time we've done baby. All of our children are the youngest. Our youngest child adopted was 1.5, so this is the first time we've done baby before.
Oh yeah.
And to watch these, there's a 6-year age gap between my biological son and my youngest son, Caleb, my youngest by adoption, Caleb. And so we have just kind of watched them invite him into what they know to be Hagerty. It's actually really sweet the way that the Lord has ordained it, that this child, who's a biological child in a sense, is getting indoctrinated into family by children who didn't come to us by birth.
Yeah, yeah. Now, okay. You know, maybe people have warned you, but when you have a bunch of kids, as you and I both do, there can be, when that new baby comes home, there can be a little jealousy on the parts of the other kids, you know, and you can see the behavioral things. Do you see any going the other way towards this new one? Do your adopted children, have they shown any signs of resentment to the natural child? You
know, we wondered if that would be the case, and there were a lot of questions after we told them that I was pregnant, from one of mine in particular that just, you know, her wheels were spinning. Would you send me back now? Oh, wow. And it gave us a great opportunity to say, no, this was the route we chose. We chose you. Yeah. We weren't sure after we had the baby what it would be like, but because there's such a big age gap, you know, he really is another baby doll to them. I mean, they are old enough that I don't think there's the typical sibling rivalry. Right. And there's 4 of them that are adopted, so they
can gang up on him.
They can gang up on him. They can gang up on him. Yes. And it is our family norm is adoption. So in a sense, because of those numbers, I think it's actually more. It will be maybe even a greater challenge for him. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. I suspect you'll be just fine walking through that. Yeah. Given all that you've walked through, I wouldn't really worry about it. You know, I'm adopted, and my parents, I have known from the time I can remember, they use the scripture where they talk about God choosing us and us being adopted sons and daughters of God to explain what adoption meant. So there was a real spiritual connection. Yes. And that stuck with me my whole life. So I don't know if you've used that scripture.
We do use it, and we point out in Scripture, I mean, Jesus was adopted. Yeah. And the beauty of just adoption being woven into, Moses was adopted, adoption being woven all throughout Scripture, that it really is, yes, we were grafted in, but then there are also these greats that we get to look at and go, they were adopted, and they followed God, and they found Him, and they walked with Him.
Absolutely. You know, the problem child is that natural child at home, I tell everybody. That's one you got to watch out for.
That biological
child. Right. Pharaoh's bad child was not Moses. It was the other one. No. I'm sure you get asked this, so I'm going to ask it on behalf of all the people that are watching and wondering, what do you tell someone who's thinking about adopting from another country?
Wow. Well, there's a lot that I would tell them. I think, and to be succinct, I would say, it's a great chance to start the conversation with the Lord. What do you have for my family? I think a lot of times we can get excited about the need that's out there because it is so great. And I know for myself, I would watch YouTube videos of families adopting, and I would read stories about children in need, and it just, my heart bled, which I think is a beautiful thing that God gives us. But I also think it's a really personal conversation with the Lord. It's not something to be taken lightly. I think our zeal and passion for justice is from Him, but I think the timing is also from Him. So I would say start the conversation with the Lord now, where it's comfortable for you to hear about timing and details, and it's just another layer of introducing His leadership into your life.
Great advice, great words. Check out Every Bitter Thing is Sweet. You can check it out at everybitterthingissweet.com. And you say Hagerty, not Hagerty, right?
I do,
I noticed that. I caught that. So look for Sara Hagerty online and check out her book, and do check her out when she's on Life Today. Again, that's at lifetoday.org. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.